How's that? Any better? Sound, sound, sound? Davis? Hey, Josh, how are you? Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you would be so kind. Davis said there was no sound there, but I might have had the wrong thing turned up, down, blah, blah, blah. David says good. Randall says no sound yet. Okay. There's a delay between YouTube and the streaming software and all that other stuff. So I'm seeing sound on my meters. So just let me know if you guys can hear me. I know we're a few minutes early. Troy, how you doing, bud? He can hear me excellent. Randall, turn up your speakers. That must be what it is. I listened to one of your mixes today, Randall, too, as well. And I commented on it. I don't know if you saw that. I think there were a couple of times, Randall, where the you may have either removed or somehow the link wasn't found. I don't know. Maybe a posting thing on your part, or maybe you took it down and replaced it with something else. I don't know if you know that. So that's cool. Okay, we got 4 or 5 people here. Cool, man. How everybody? Thanks so much for joining me for the reschedule. Sorry, last week was the Super Bowl, and I don't watch football. It's not one of my things. So, you know, I didn't even know there was a damn Super Bowl. You know, one of you guys reminded me. I never would have scheduled it if I would have known that. So that's cool. I'm glad we're all going to be here tonight. We'll wait a few minutes because it is still early, and see if people show up. Okay, Josh says he can hear me now. True as well. Great. Randall says he can hear me. Okay, so everyone looks like they can hear me okay. So how are you guys liking the new members community, the new forum? I know at first it was a little confusing, and quite honestly, for me, it's still a little confusing. I'm not a huge fan of the format. I'm getting used to it. I think people are starting to get used to where to post their mixes. That was the only real sticking point, right? The other categories where we're just kind of talking about general stuff was no big deal. It was really the mix feedback that I know is a little bit of an issue for people on where to post and how to post, and it is a little confusing. Unfortunately, I have no I didn't design that, so that's just all part of the the whole website platform itself. And even though it's still in beta, and I've given them some feedback, and there's going to be some improvements, I'm sure. It's not like I designed that kind of a Facebook kind of a a theme, or kind of a topics and posts and that kind of thing. So I have little control over that at this point, but it seems like everybody's starting to get the hang of it now, which is cool. And so hopefully you guys like it. If not, and it becomes a problem, I can create a regular forum, which most people would be used to that typical forum layout, but it would have to be on another website. It wouldn't cost anything, but you guys would have to log in with a username and password. And most of you said you didn't want to do that. You wanted to stick with this for a while and see how this works. I kind of like the fact that it's all built into the mixingmadeeasy.net website, right? So if you're not a member, you can't join, and when you go to a public third-party forum, people that it's real hard to manage the memberships, and people can get in that don't belong there. And, it's not as exclusive. And, so I don't know. Hopefully you guys like it. Yeah, Randall says the forum is still hard to follow new mixes and comments. Yeah, I'm starting to get the hang of it. You know what? And why don't I bring it up while we're waiting for folks? Let me show you one thing that I kind of realized that you guys probably already know. You guys are more hip to this stuff than I am. But let me share the screen here for a second, and let me bring it up, because I did bring it up because I wanted to. I did pull it up here just so we can see it together. So one of the things, and again, all the other categories are pretty standard, right? I mean, if you guys want to see another section outside of general topics, mixed feedback, studio photos, and announcements, please let me know, and I can add other sections. But I thought at first it would be good to just keep it simple. But for the mixed feedback, what I realized, Randall, and I guess I just realized it this week. Now, one thing that I don't like, and maybe I'll have control over this once they, get past the beta and they give the admins a little more control. I don't like the fact that, what the hell was it? Or no, maybe it wasn't that. It was, no, the latest post is always going to be on the top. I guess that's okay. But anyway, so here's Rescue Me. And here's where I first started the thread, right? And then you have where it says 56 comments. So now if I click on that, and here's 9 more. Okay, so let me just load all the comments here. A lot of people have commented here. So Davis, here's your first one. So here comes Rand. Okay, hold on. Let me just click on, make sure I get this right. Okay, so here is Randall's mix here. Here, Randall where it says, oops, I couldn't find that track. I don't know why. I clicked on this. I think it worked. But when you see somebody post a comment here or a mix, the way you reply to that is you come down to right underneath where they made their original post, like in this case, Randall. And if I click on replies, you'll see all the replies just to Randall's mix. Okay, and then once you're done reading through all of that, and you can see the comment box will actually be at the bottom. Then the next mix here is Davis's mix. But for me, what I would do is I would come back up to the top. As stupid as this sounds, I click on reply again, and I'd close the gap. I'd close the replies. See, I can open them and close them, and then it brings me right to the next mix. And again, I know it's just, you know, horses for courses, but so then Davis's mix is here, and I can hit reply. And I can see who replied here. So Randall replied to Davis's, and that's really it. Oh, I didn't reply to yours, Davis. You know, I might have replied in the wrong spot, and this is where I'm still getting used to this. So I listened to your mix. I know I did. And so I would go ahead and we would reply down here, and then if you just click on replies, it closes it up again. Right? I think that's right. Is that right? Yeah, because here's Randall's mix. And then people responding here to Randall. Okay. And then Mike was the last person. And then here's Davis's reply to that. And then if I close that up, and again, I don't know if people are posting kind of in the wrong place here, because here's Mike's mix. And then if I click replies, I can see everyone that responded to Mike's mix. And I did this today. I don't know, Mike, if you're here yet. I didn't see you. But if you are, I commented here a little while ago. Oh, you did. You saw thank you. Okay, cool. And then if you scroll down, I did James's mix as well. So what I do is I just find the person that posts their mix. I don't know how the hell you guys are embedding the player here. I have to learn how to do that. I didn't think you could do that, but you guys are obviously doing it. So it's working, which I kind of like when you embed the player from SoundCloud, because it just makes it easier to see. And then again, James's mix has 14 replies. So if I click on replies, I see everybody that responded to James. So it's a little, and Randall, I get you. It's a little bit of a pain. And I'm still working through it as well. But people are starting to get it now. So if you guys are cool with it, let's keep with this for a few more months and see how it is. And again, there may be some updates and things that we can do. Once the beta becomes public on this platform, there may be more features coming, and therefore we might be able to make things a little easier. So hopefully that all makes sense to everybody. Let's see. Okay, so okay, cool. Let's see, Davis. Okay, Davis, you deleted your first one and then responded to further down. Okay, that's cool. I mean that's okay. You're saying Davis is saying it's not embedded. It's a shared link that populates a SoundCloud page. Okay, Davis, I'm going to check that out myself because I do things through SoundCloud as well. I just didn't know how to do that. Let's see. James says, I just paste the URL at the end of my comment in a separate line. Apparently that embeds the player. Okay, James, great. So that's cool. So we can see that. So that's how you kind of use it. So yeah, it is a little bit of a little tricky. Oh yeah, here's Davis's. I see it. Okay, I thought I saw the starfish here. I could have swore I saw it. So I click on reply. Oops. And then Mike, yeah, here it is, Davis. I know I did 2 hours ago. So that's crazy. I know I responded. Oh, and then you wrote back to me. Okay, great. I didn't read that yet. So that's how we kind of do it. So first and foremost, we got a forum now, and that's great. It's starting to come together, which is really great. And we're just gonna keep using it for now. And what I really dig is that you guys are really all getting involved, and you guys are listening to the mixes, and you're posting, and you're helping, and that's really cool. We want this to be as interactive as possible. I know everybody's busy, but you know, the more help that we can all give each other, hey, the better. And I'm trying to listen to these at least a couple of times a week. Sometimes I'm listening to these and not in the control room here. I'm listening to them on maybe not the greatest speakers in the world, which is good because if things start to sound really balanced on a crappy set of speakers, it's probably a really good mix. So, and I usually will write that in the comment. If I'm not listening to this in the ideal environment, I let you guys know that. But I just want to try to stay on top of it and listen to all that stuff is cool. So that's great. So again, thanks for joining us for this month's coaching call. If you guys have any questions, you can start asking them. I'll try to keep up with the chat. There's a few things I want to just discuss or just tell you about. First, let's do the mixing contest first, because this is being recorded, and if everyone's not watching this, this will be posted up on the coaching call page and the website tomorrow. So you can always, if you have to split out early or if you're coming in late, you can always watch this tomorrow. But Wayne Milken, or Milliken, won the mixing contest for January for Trafficker. My Father Never Loved Me. We had a lot of, I mean, thanks so much for submitting all your mixes too, by the way. I think we had over 100. So it took me a while to go through them. And there was a lot of great mixes in there. But Wayne really pulled it out in the end. His mix was really, really good. And I know he posted that, hit one of his final mixes in the thread, in the forum. You guys should go check that out. So he won. So Wayne, if you're not here yet, when you watch this, just shoot me an email and I will send you over a plugin. I'm going to give you a copy of Auto Align. I have some licenses of that. If you already have Auto Align, I don't know if you do, I have a bunch of other stuff I can offer you as well. So we'll take care of that. So Wayne won the contest. Again, rescue me. I've already gotten some submissions, which is great. You know, continue to submit your mixes. The mixes are getting really, really good. And what really helps me too, the more mixes you guys send me, I get a kind of a feel for where is everybody at. You know, as far as, am I hearing some patterns of some of the same issues or things that are great or maybe things that people need to work on, and then I can incorporate that into the content, you know what I mean? Some of the content's already done, not all of it for the year, but I'm a few months ahead. But there's going to be some bonus things that are going to come up that we're going to do. There's going to be a couple of live webinars that we'll get on here, and we'll do some live mixing webinar demonstrations with, you know, not songs that you guys already have mixed. It's going to be new stuff, additional stuff, where if I'm listening to a bunch of your mixes and I'm hearing certain problem areas, I could kind of maybe demonstrate that in a special webinar type of a thing. And I'll record it just like we do this, and you guys will have that all for free. So that'll all be for you guys as well. So the more mixes you guys send me, and the more you guys post in the community, the more I get a better feel for how you guys are all doing. The other thing that came up that a couple of people have asked me is, would I be willing to mix members' tracks, meaning that if you guys had some songs and we wanted the community to mix them, and that's great. Some people have asked me, I said, just send me a quick rough mix, an MP3 file. It doesn't have to be done. It doesn't have to be mastered. It just has to be a quick static mix. I just want to hear the quality of the recording itself and make sure that we're hitting kind of a minimum quality standard of, you know, decent recorded tracks. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be in a world-class studio, right? We're all home studio enthusiasts here, but something that's just recorded decently, so we can do that. And I would be more than happy to, either as a bonus content for a month or in addition, or I'll maybe, you know, slot a month where we'll, you know, 1 month we'll do a members mix. So if you guys have something and you want to talk to me about it, I'd be glad to do that. That's totally cool. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Let's see, the third thing, yeah, great participation in the forum. So I appreciate you guys all doing that. So let's see, who else is here? We got about 15 people here. This is great. Congratulations to Wayne. Yes, Wayne, congratulations on the awesome mix that you did. Steve saying, David, glad I noticed that there was another link in the email that you sent out. The link in the coaching call doesn't work. Oh, really? Oh, man. Okay. I'll have to check into that and see what happens. I will always send out a reminder. It's always going to be this link, by the way. It's always going to be on the Home Recording Made Easy YouTube channel. It's an unlisted thing. This is an unlisted live stream, meaning all of my, you know, 30,000 subscribers and people that are not part of Mixing Made Easy and that don't even know this is going on. So it's just, instead of starting a whole nother YouTube channel, it just made sense to kind of do it all here. So it'll always be this link. So I'll figure that out, Steve, and I'll get that fixed, but thanks for the tip. And I will always send out a reminder a few days before to you guys anyway. So speaking of that, because someone had asked me about this, what I'm going to try to do is the first Sunday of every month, Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, that's when I'm going to try to do it. This being the second week, because last week was the Super Bowl, my bad. I don't think I did that again throughout the rest of the year, but I've already on my calendar have scheduled them out right through December. And if there's 1 or 2 Sundays that come up where it just falls on something weird or holiday or some big festivity like the Super Bowl and we need to reschedule, that's no problem. But just so you can mark it off on your calendars, the first Sunday every month, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you can't make it live, not a big deal. I'm going to record them anyway, and you guys will have them. But the reason why I do this live is I want to be here for you guys in case you guys have any questions and you can't get to me through email and or through the user forum, because sometimes I'm not there all the time to be able to answer every single question that comes in, because I get so many emails, as you guys could possibly imagine, not only from you guys, but from people at Home Recording Made Easy. It all kind of floods in and I have to try to answer all of them. So I want to try to be here and help you guys live where I can. So that's cool. Randall says my goal this year is to win a copy of Autoline. I have several copies, Randall. So don't worry. I'm sure you will be one of those folks at one point. Steve says, yeah, some people had posted in the chat about having trouble getting in. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I got to look at that. I didn't realize that because it's the same link that I thought I put in the email. Maybe it's not. Maybe I didn't realize that. Again, my apology. Bob Farrell's here. Hey, Bob, how are you? Hey, David, thanks for moving this from the crappy Super Bowl Sunday. The game was so boring. We should have just done it then. Yeah, no, it's my bad. Like I said, I wasn't, aware. I just didn't put two and two together. So most people wanted to watch the Super Bowl. I get it. And so that's no big deal. Hey, this Sunday, next Sunday, it doesn't matter. Again, I'm just trying to do it as far as consistency reasons so you guys can plan ahead and put it on your calendar. So what do you guys think so far of the mix this month? So the mix this month, Amy Helms, Rescue Me. Again, totally different from the song we did the month before. And what you'll find as we go forward is the songs from one month to the next are going to be vastly different. And it's done like that for a reason. And so hopefully you guys are digging. I really tried to spend a lot of time picking out all the songs we were going to do for this year. And again, if we get members that send stuff in, we can always pull one out and I could do another one. It's no big deal. But I wanted to have kind of a blueprint for the whole year to make sure that we covered every style of music. And more importantly, I wanted to pick songs where I knew there were going to be really good teachable moments because not every mix is the same and there's not always the same way of doing things. And I tried to plan that out with the types of plugins I was going to use and stuff. So you guys got a wide variety of stuff. Now, there were a couple of people that had said to me, hey, Andy's here from Thunder Creek Studios. Hey, Andy, bud, how are you, my friend? A few people had said, hey, a couple of these songs, I think one of the songs might have been Trafficker. It might have been the first one. Oh, that I don't remember, to be honest with you. That I think you can get those multi-track files off of one of these free websites and stuff. And there are some that are from those kinds of websites. And there's several reasons for that. One, because I don't always have the permission from the artist in my own personal library to let you guys use the mix and put them all over your websites. That's the first thing. The second thing is I wanted to, as I just said, I want to make sure that I'm picking different types of music to cover all the genres, but also trying to pick songs strategically where I think there's some good teachable moments that don't come up all the time. That's the whole point of this whole thing, right? Because if you just see the same thing every single month with the same plugins and the same process and the same workflow, and nothing changes, then you're not really getting your money's worth. And so, and again, I get it. For folks that say, well, the multi-tracks aren't always exclusive here. They're not always. I'd say 65 to 70% of them are exclusive. The other 35% or whatever it is, are ones that you can get, and maybe you've mixed them in the past on another mixing membership website. And that's unfortunate, but also remember that you're getting to see a different person mix that song, that maybe when you mixed it in the past, now you have some other training that you may think about mixing that song a little bit differently, right? So hope that makes sense for everybody. I had a couple people ask me about that, and it's not, I try to tell people, and a lot of you know this, the song itself doesn't really matter. Don't worry about whether the song is a multi-track you could have got. You're not paying for the multi-track. You're paying for the education, right? You're paying for the videos. You're paying for the live stream. You're paying for all the other bonus stuff that's going to be coming up. You're not paying for the multi-track because some of these things you can get anywhere. Other ones you can't. And so we got some really cool ones coming up pretty soon that I think you guys are really going to dig. I don't remember where Trafficker came from. I've had that one in my possession for a while, to be honest. I don't remember if that was one that I got from a free site. I don't usually get stuff from free sites. So anyway, I'm not really sure, but hopefully that all makes sense. Andy says, I could really use the Autoline because of all the live sound they record for live drums. Yeah. Well, like I said, I have several licenses. I'm not going to be giving out Autoline every single month. I mean, I have lots and lots of plugins. I have lots of great manufacturers that have stepped up and have given us lots of different plugins from all different kinds of manufacturers. Audified, I got some from Nomad Factory. I got some from SoundRadix, Autoline. I have some from FabFilter. I have some from PreSonus. I'm working on I have some from SonarWorks. I have a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, Autoline's a really cool one. And so, yeah, just keep submitting your mix to the mixing contest and you may win it. Randall says I did the bass in this month's song. Oh, you dig the bass in this month's song. Oh, cool. Really cool. Yeah, it's a good song. It's a great, well-recorded track, female vocals, some background vocals. Some of the mixes I've heard so far, I've put some comments on there of things. Some of you had some really solid ones. Other ones, they were solid overall, but maybe one or two things I thought you may want to go back and take another look at. Now, part of the thing that we want you guys, one of the things that we've talked about in the past is I'm not all sure what your mixing environment is like. And what I tend to find is that a lot of people are either mixing in untreated rooms, or they're mixing on really crappy headphones or crappy speakers. And some of that, you want to make sure, we've talked about this before, before you start buying a lot of plugins and all, make sure you have your mixing environment dialed in the best that you can based on your circumstances, right? So even if you're in a tiny bedroom, you want to make sure you have some acoustic treatment up, right? You want to make sure that most people that are in a room or in a basement, your desk is probably up against a wall or a couple of feet away from a wall, right? It's pretty rare that any of you guys would be mixing with a desk in the center of the room where there's no hard surfaces nearby, but most of you are in a room, a spare room, right? So you want to make sure that the wall in front of your desk, right behind your studio monitors, have some of the foam on there to catch the higher reflections, the high frequency, the reflections. You want to make sure in the corners you have some kind of bass trapping. The bass trapping is probably more important depending on the room than even the foam, but you want to have bass traps in every corner, ideally from floor to ceiling if possible. If not, at least in the center of the wall. Depending on how far back your back wall is to you, this room happens to be pretty deep. You can see way back there, this room's about 22, 23 feet deep. And although there's lots of things back there that kind of, disperse the sound, most people don't have a room like that. Again, you might be in a spare bedroom of some kind. So if your walls are only 8 or 10 feet behind you, same thing in the corners, try to get some bass trapping up there. On the back wall, if you don't have, anything and it's just a flat surface, you want to put some foam up there. Or if you have a bookcase or some furniture, something where sound can be absorbed. Okay, and then the last place, outside of your four corners, your front wall, your back wall, is your first reflections on the side, right? Most of you guys know about that, right? So it's usually, every room's gonna be, if you have flat walls, 4 or 5 feet away from you, right, solid surfaces, you want to get some foam to catch those reflections so you don't have all these things canceling out. That's going to go a long way to you guys getting better mixes, right? Because you're going to hear what's coming out of your monitors more accurately, and therefore when you're making your EQ decisions mostly, but even some of your compression decisions, you're going to hear more accurately what's going on. Now, if you don't have the ability to do that for whatever reason, or if you don't have the budget to do that, get yourself a good set of studio headphones. I've just upgraded these, by the way. These are brand new. I was using Focal headphones for the longest time, and they're fantastic. I just upgraded to the Sennheiser HD 700s or 700 HD. I forget the name of them. And I really like these. These are open back headphones. When you're mixing, typically open backs are going to be better for the low end, although the Focals are one of the only closed back headphone that really gives you an accurate low end. So get yourself a good set of studio headphones if you don't have the ability to do acoustic treatment and or have a decent set of monitors. And when I mean decent, $400 a pair, minimum 400 or 500 a pair and up. But if you don't have that ability, get yourself some good headphones. It's going to make a world of difference, right? Because a lot of this training and all the plugins and all this stuff doesn't matter if you can't hear things accurately, okay? Now, even if you get a more lower, these are expensive headphones. These are, I think, $600 or so. But you can get yourself, like I said, a KRK headphones for $150 or Sony headphones for $150, $200. And you can get the Sono, which I wanted to talk about. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you've probably seen it. The SonarWorks the headphone plugin, which is a way for them to correct the headphones. I'll show you that in a second if you guys haven't seen that. And by using a decent set of headphones, that's going to take the room out of the equation, and that's going to help you tremendously. That's more important than anything at all. Get the room right. I have a couple of clients that I've done recently over at Home Recording Made Easy, where there needs some mixing help. And when we start getting into these conversations, I find out that not only they have no acoustic treatment in the room, they're mixing on like hi-fi stereo speakers, like ones from the 80s and 90s, and they get the thing rocking and pumping in their room, and then they take it out to their truck and put the CD in, and it sounds like crap. Well, you know, got to kind of go back and educate the room and the system you're listening to it on. It doesn't matter if you know how to use a compressor and an EQ. If you can't hear accurately in the room, in the environment, it's going to be a big problem. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Let me scroll back up here. I don't want to miss anything. Oh, hey, Mike from Peace Valley Audio. How are you, bud? Okay, here it is. Mike says, speaking of headphones, did you get new ones? Yes, Mike, I just did. These are, I love these. These are great. I'm one of those guys. Josh says I'm one of those guys that doesn't have the best mixing environment. Yeah, Josh, and again, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Okay, you can buy acoustic treatment and you can spend some money if you just have the budget, don't want to be bothered, just want to get some good stuff and throw it on your walls. You can make stuff too, very, very affordably. And as a matter of fact, if you go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and check out my blog, there's at least 2 articles on acoustic treatment that go through the whole thing. I even have 2 or 3 videos on Home Recording Made Easy's YouTube channel, the YouTube channel that you're watching, that talks about my acoustic treatment. There's many ways to do it. And you really want to try to dial that in. Again, if the room can't work for you for whatever reason, get yourself a good set of headphones, okay? And that'll eliminate all the acoustic treatment problems. Let's see. David says, headphones here, check mix in the truck. Yep, that's the good way to do it. I exclusively... when I'm mixing client projects, I'm mixing through monitors, obviously, but for all of my tutorials and all the training videos I do, because I have a vocal mic, I have to mix in headphones. If I mix in monitors, everything is going to bleed, and then I have to spend 50 times the amount of time to edit all the bleed out, and I don't have the time to do that. So I have to mix almost exclusively in headphones today for all the YouTube stuff, all the training stuff. I have to. And once you get used to the headphones, it is a nice way to mix. If you get something that's really comfortable, which these are, it's not bad. James says, hey, James, how are you, buddy? You could print the drum replacement and then auto-align it to the other drums. Drumagog includes phase alignment. Yes, I don't know if you're responding to another question, but yes, Drumagog does do that. I used to use that years and years ago, and you can do just that if you didn't have auto-align, for example. Oops, did I lose my place in the chat? Let's see. Bob is here. Hey, Bob, how are you? Comfortable on the ears, David? Yes, very comfortable. Much more so than my Focals. The one thing I did not like about the Focals is they weren't the most comfortable headphones in the world if you're wearing them for long periods of time. The ear cups were more of this, not leather, like a foam, memory foam with like a faux leather covering. And they were closed back, and they just weren't the most comfortable things in the world. They sounded great. They really did. For what they were and how much I paid for them, they're really, really good. But these are better. I like these much more. They have this much more foam piece. This is an open back, which I've never mixed with open backs before, but what a difference in engaging the low end with open backs. Much easier to do. Let's see. James says HD 600s or 800s, I would think. These are the 700s. The 800s were, I looked at the 800s. I believe those are like $1,500–1,600. A little bit out of my price range. The 600s and the 650s, it's the 700, which is like a step up above the 650 in price. And again, I just did a lot of I read a lot of reviews on them. A couple of engineer friends of mine use these and use the 600s and the 650s, and the ones that have upgraded said it's worth the upgrade. And seeing as I'm wearing these things 5 hours a day, I figure I'll just spend a little extra money. But I wasn't going to spend $1,500 on a set of headphones. Let's see. James says open back for mixing, closed backs for recording. Yes, exactly. Because open backs for recording would bleed into the microphones. But yeah, I do mostly mixing in training, as you know. Let's see. Mike says from Peace Valley Audio, my studio is our master bedroom. I have bass traps in all the corners, and the broadband absorption and the critical reflection points that I made myself. Yes. I have a patient wife. That's cool. And by the way, Mike, I thought I said when I listened to your, and again, I'm certain this is part of it. I said I heard your mix today on the forum, and it's one of the cleanest mixes I've ever heard you do. So let's chalk that up to having a good environment, and hey, maybe some of the training has helped too, right? But yeah, your mixes. And your mixes will translate well. If they sound good in the room, they're going to sound good in other places. That's the whole point. And yes, having a patient wife helps. James says, Bob, I think he's just talking to Bob. They don't touch my ears at all. Unless you have huge ears, you should be fine. Oh, James says he used to mix through a good stereo keyboard amp. That's a big mistake. Yeah, I don't. God bless you for trying that, huh? Josh says, yes, it's unfortunate. I know having better a mixing area and acoustic treatment will take my mixes to a new level. It will. It so will. It is one of the most overlooked things by new mixers, and it's the thing that people talk least about because it's not sexy. It's not a cool plug-in. It's not, it's stuff on the walls, and so it's not the most popular thing in the world, but it is probably the single most important thing you can do to help you get a better mix. Is you got to be able to hear what's going on in the mix, or again, get a good set of headphones. Let's see. Bob says my KRK Rocket 8s have one of the Rocket 8s had one bite the dust just before I went to NAMM. Oh my goodness. I didn't get a good response from KRK Gibson rep, so I just replaced the KRK with PreSonus RD88s. Oh, the PreSonus 8. Yeah, that's cool. Very good. I don't know much about the KRKs. I know they're popular. I've never owned a pair. I think I've probably listened to them in Guitar Center and stuff. I'm sure they're decent monitors, and the PreSonus stuff is good too. The other thing you want to be aware of too is make sure you don't get a woofer that's too big for the room. Okay, 8-inch speaker, you have to have a good size room. Because again, it's all about controlling the low end. So if you have like a 10 by 10 bedroom, you don't need any more than like a 5 to a 6-inch woofer. Now, some people say you can add a sub, and I guess it depends on the music you're working on. If you're working on a lot of dance and rap and that kind of stuff with the real low end, you may want to add yourself a sub. But just doing normal, popular music, rock, jazz, blues, that kind of thing, having a big monitor, a big speaker cone in a small room is going to cause you problems too, because you're going to have more reflections going on. You want to make sure your room's treated even further. The other thing you can do, especially if you have bigger monitors, is you want to mix at a low volume level, which we've talked about before. You don't want to listen cranked all the time for a variety of reasons. So be sure you choose the right monitor for the space you're going to be in. Everyone thinks bigger monitor is better. It's not. This is, like I said, this is a 15 or 16 by 22, 23 room wide. My Focals have 5.5 or 5 3/4 inch woofers and a 1-inch tweeter, no sub, and there's plenty of low end. Don't need 8-inch speakers in this room, and this is twice the size of a spare bedroom. Just saying. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh, I think I lost my place. Okay, here we go. Bob says, hi, James. My Sennheiser HD 280s hurt after about an hour or so. Oh, he must be talking about headphones. I don't know about those particular headphones. Andy says, thanks for tuning into my live stream last night. Oh, you're welcome. It crapped out on me. It froze up on me after a while, but that was fun. You were on Facebook Live at a live show. Let's see. Mike says, definitely the training. 4 years of training. Well, it's paying off, Mike. Let's see. Booth Mixing and Mastering Service. Hey, Booth Mixing and Mastering Service. Is that Bobby Booth? Hey, Andy and Mike. Let's see. Yes, it is Bobby. See, I know who it is. Okay, Bob Farrell. My KRK's died. Died is the second time it died in 3 years. Wow. I'm actually in a 15 by 25 room. Oh, great. Covered nicely by Rockwool panels and bass trap. Then you're ready to rock, Bob. You sounds like you got the right setup. Very, very cool. Mike says he has the PreSonus E5s and Mackie MR5 MK3s. Don't know that one, but I know about the PreSonus ones. Yeah, I only have one set of monitors. I just have the Focals and then the headphones, and that's all I've really needed. And I have a couple little crappy speakers, like a little radio and a mono speaker and stuff. But most of the stuff I do is in headphones today and or on the Focals. So that's really cool. So yeah, let me show you guys the plugin, and I want to show you something too. Again, ask questions if you want. If you have any questions about anything about the content or whatever, ask. But in the meantime, let me just show you if you don't know, and I'm going to do a review on this, and I'm going to post it on the YouTube channel. I'm in the wrong damn thing. Soon here, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys in a second. You guys should see Studio One any minute now. Okay, so Studio One. So SonarWorks makes this plugin, and I'm trying to get some licenses for it. I think I'm close to getting some licenses that I can give away. But they make a plugin called, let me see, let me find it. Come on. Too many plugins. That's my problem. Way too many plugins. I don't need half of what I have here. Let's see. Sonar Works. Okay. So okay. So it's a Sonar Works reference 4 plugin. So this is designed to go as the last plugin in your chain, either on your post or, you know, whatever on your master bus here. And this is for headphones. Okay. And what this does, I hope you guys can see the screen okay. This is a plugin that really, well, all it really does, the short of it, is it based on the headphones that you're using, it corrects the EQ curve to flatten out the response as much as possible. And they have what's called a calibration profile, which you can see up here. You can see mine's here's the HD700s that I have. You click on this and they have a whole bunch of profiles that come loaded, and I think they're always adding them, where you go pick the headphones. They have every name brand under the sun. And they have what's called an average. So let's say for mine, and you pick your headphone that you have, and they have what's called the average. So every set of headphones, obviously these HD700s, they're made in some, you know, God only knows where, China or somewhere, on some assembly line, and every driver is going to be a little different. Every, you know, all the circuitry is going to be slightly different. And they're all going to have a little bit of a different sound to them, and their EQ curve is going to be slightly different. So what Sonar Works did is they took an average. I don't know, they probably sampled a whole bunch of them, took an average, and then they have this curve. You can see here the frequency response curve. The before is this kind of blue line. This is kind of where it has. So the HD700s have a little bit of a bump here at around 125 or so. Has another little spike here, up here at around the 6-7K mark, right? And then what happens is the target is the flat line, which is red, right? You want it to be as flat as possible. So then you come down here and you pick flat. And what it does is it corrects, it goes ahead and it kind of corrects it for you. So you have a frequency response. So when you turn calibration on, it gives you gives you the before and the after here. And they have it for studio monitors and they have it for headphones. Now the studio monitors, they give you a if you buy the kit, they give you a microphone where you take all kinds of measurements in your room. There's a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do that. And what it does is it flattens out the response. Now here's the trick with this thing. And the reason why I don't use this, it works great. But the reason why I don't use this is because when you mix with this, okay, you mix with this plugin, before you export your mix, you need to shut this plugin off or take it out of the chain, or it's going to sound weird. Okay, because it's making an EQ correction so you can hear things accurately. And they tell you need to take the plugin off the master bus before you export the file. The other thing I realize is, but because all of my videos are done with screen capture software, if I do a tutorial with this on, what you guys are going to hear is it's going to sound weird to you, because unless you're wearing the same headphones as I am to listen back to this, it's going to sound a little weird. Makes sense? So I don't use it for that reason, not because it's not great, because I've tried it and it works really good. And if I'm not doing a tutorial, I'm just mixing in headphones, I'll use this, and it really flattens things out quite a bit. And again, you just go in and pick the profile of the headphone that you have. The other thing Sonar Works allows you to do, if you wanted to, is they sell headphones, most of the most popular ones, where they make a custom profile for that specific set of headphones, which just means it's not an average anymore. It's more tailored to the ones that are sitting on your head, and therefore it's supposed to be more accurate. I never did that before, but I know that they offer that. So check out Sonar Works. It is a cool thing. I think the plugin's probably 69 or 99 bucks. I don't know. But if you do a lot of mixing with headphones, okay, and you don't have the mixing environment like we've been talking about, this could be a great solution, because now you can get yourself a decent set of headphones. You can put some headphone correction on there. You can mix, get an accurate representation in your headphones to really what's going on in the mix. Do the mix, and then before you export the mix, you go ahead and you just remove the plugin before you export it. Okay, so that might be something you guys can think about. And again, I'm trying to secure some licenses for that plugins for you guys. So that might be something you guys want to look at. So let me go back up, see if I missed anything else here. Let's see. Bob says, hey, David, experience with the new Superior Drummer 3. Avid in the... What does that say? Avid in the future if you use it. Not sure what that means, but no, I don't use Superior Drummer 3. I use Easy Drummer 2. I don't have any... I've seen it. It looks fantastic, but I don't have any personal experience with it. But I know it's a super, super popular program, so I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great. But no, I have never used it. Let's see. Bobby Booth, saw your video on the mix checker. I like what I saw, so I got it, which I also upgraded to the Pro. Yeah, that's a great plugin too, the Mix Checker Pro. I do have a bunch of licenses of that to give away this year as well. I think I have 6 of them, so I'll be giving that away as well. Let's see. Davis says I have 2 Shure SM440 headphones, and they both sound completely different. Right, they're going to sound a little different. And again, I don't know that particular model. This is where, again, you can also, with SonarWorks, by the way, if they don't sell the Shure, you can send your headphones to them, and they will create a custom profile for you for your plugin. So when you have your plugin, you load the specific profile to your set of headphones. And I think they only charge like $100 to do that, which I thought was pretty reasonable. So that might be something to think about as well. You can go on their website. It's all there. And again, I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying not only get some licenses, but I'm trying to get some of those little goodies too. So maybe I could give away a couple of coupons where if you guys want to go have your headphones set up and get the calibration profile, we can get that done. But I don't have them yet, but I'm working on it. Mike says over at Peace Valley Audio, they don't have a version. They don't have a version for monitors too. Yes, they do. Yeah, you said don't they have? Yes, they do, Mike. They do. With a room mic and all that. They do. I have it, as a matter of fact. I haven't used it yet. They sent it to me as part of the thing to do a demo for them. I just haven't gotten around to it. But basically, they give you a calibrated microphone that you put on a mic stand in the seated position, your mixing position, and it takes you through a whole series of different measurements where you move the microphone around the room, and they have some special audio, pink noise and stuff that come out and measures it. And then, like with the headphones, it generates a profile for your mixing environment. So you can mix in your room with that. Haven't tried it yet. I've seen some videos on YouTube. People say it's really good. It's hard to demo something like that on YouTube because you watching it on YouTube can't really hear the effect. You have to take the person's word for it. It's like doing reviews on monitors or doing reviews on headphones. Unless you have them in the room, all you can do is listen to my opinion. There's no way for you to hear what I'm hearing. But yeah, they do have that. You're absolutely correct. Josh says he'll check that out. Yep, check it out. Josh says Sweetwater sells the plugin for $99. Yes, go to SonarWorks. I think it's cheaper than that, or it was on sale last time I looked. But maybe it's $99. I could be wrong. Let's see. James says SonarWorks reference for headphone edition is 99 euros. Okay, there you go. Davis says I use both Easy Drummer and Superior Drummer. I prefer the first. You prefer Easy Drummer. Yeah, I think they're built around the same kind of concept, right? In the layout and the drag and drop of the MIDI files and creating your own drum tracks and loops and grooves. But yeah, Easy Drummer to me was easy. Hence the name Easy Drummer. I also use Slate some SSD4, not the SSD5, which I really like when I do use it. Both of those two cover all of my needs as far as drum software goes. So I have no reason to buy anything else. Let's see. James says, I saw your video on the Tegular site. The sound of the Creme was amazing on the video, turning it on and off. Yes, and I still have the Creme. Some of the mixes that you'll see in mixingmadeeasy.net, I did do analog summing, and I explained that as part of it. I don't remember which ones, and there's other ones I did not, because I know some people would say, well, I don't have the hardware that you have. I want to do it all in the box, so I did it all in the box. If you're looking for a hybrid kind of a setup, I really highly recommend a stereo bus compressor and an EQ if you can get a unit. And there's many companies that make them. The Tegular audio is really good. I really like that. You heard the difference. SSL put one out called the Fusion, a new one, which I would really love to try as a demo. But the hardware, I like it because it's just real easy, quick and easy to dial in. And I just like the way it sounds. And then I have the analog summer as well. But for years, I did it with just plugins too. But, you know, I wanted to kind of set up more of a hybrid. You know, when you work in a studio all day, this is what I do for a living. Every now and again, it's nice to change things up just to keep things fresh, and I'm not doing the same thing over and over again. So I wanted to get kind of a hardware hybrid setup, and I might add some more hardware pieces to where I can insert things on certain tracks and maybe use a hardware compressor just for shits and giggles, not because it's better than the plugins necessarily, just to do something a little different. Let's see. Oh, Bob's talking to Davis about Superior Drummer. Cool. Andy says, for the February mix, are we supposed to use the Waves SL plugins? You can use whatever plugins you want. I think I used the Waves SSL plugin if I remember right. The whole idea around the mixes is I just pick a different set of plugins and or combinations of plugins every month so you don't see the same thing 2 months in a row, as much as humanly possible, right? Or I'll use some of the same plugins, but maybe I'll do a different type of mixing approach, maybe a top-down mixing approach as opposed to a standard mix, things like that. You can use whatever plugins you want. I try to just give you guys a variety. That's all. That's cool. Speaking of SSL, Andy, so I got Studio One up here, and the other thing I've been playing with them, and there's going to be a YouTube video in a couple of weeks. I've already recorded it, but I'll let you guys in on it now because, hey, you guys are members of MixingMadeEasy.net, so what the hell. So a video that I have coming up, and I think it's James. James, is it you that turned me on to the SSL native plugins? I could swear it's you, and if it isn't, I apologize. But I picked up the and I posted about it in the community, in our user community. I think it was James that turned me on to the Solid State Logic makes their own native plugins, which I don't know why I didn't know. I should know that. I didn't know that. He was claiming, or I think it was James, somebody was claiming that they loved it so much better than the Wave stuff that they already had. And I said, oh, really? I'll have to check that out. So I did. And I was, it was an impulse. There's several ways you can buy these. You can buy these as one-off plugins. I think there's 6 or 7 of them, or you can get all of their plugins for like the Slate stuff, like $14 a month for the year. If you buy it up front as a year, or you can go month to month, cancel anytime, I think for $20 a month or something like that. So I bit the bullet and spent $150 and got them all so I could play with them for a year. And what I'm doing, James, you did. Thanks, bud. And what I've been doing is I've been going through them one at a time, playing with them a little bit, and I've been doing some YouTube videos. Now, the one that you're looking at here, let me close this. The one I just did a video on last week was this drum strip. This is a killer plugin, by the way. This is made to go on a drum bus. I did a video on it. I really like it. Really like it a lot. This is really nice. And so this week I'm going through their channel strip. And the reason why I'm going through their channel strip is because I own 3 different channel strips from SSL. I have this one here. This is really great. And then I also have, as you all know, the Universal Audio channel strip. And then I also have, Andy just alluded to it, the Waves channel strip. And I wanted to hear the difference between them. And I just did a 30-minute video on there where we A/B'd them all. And we're going to do that right now. So if you guys want to hear these? I know James already has them, so he doesn't care, but the rest of you might. Yes, he said the SSL bus compressor is good too. I have that right here on the master bus. This is great too. Now I haven't compared this on its own to Universal Audio and Waves yet. I will, future video. What I like about these plugins are 2 things. They sound great, obviously. I love the way they're laid out. I love that the GUIs are nice and big. Things are nice and easily to be seen. You don't need to be right up on the monitor to see them, and I'll show you what I mean about the channel strip in a minute. This is a great plugin. Sounds great. This is a great plugin. The XEQ, which is a 10-band EQ with an analyzer in it. Really, really nice as well. I have this on the master bus. But what I wanted to do is, Andy says he was considering the $14.99 subscription. Now, here's the thing, and I'm just going to tell you, because you guys are my friends, and I don't bullshit you. I tell you what I really think. Now, you all know that I'm a Universal Audio lover. I've been using this plugin for years, and I love it. Okay? The channel strip. This sounds better to me. And in the video that I do, when you see it in a week or 2, you'll see it. It is. It has more depth. It's more 3-dimensional to me. It has a nice tighter lower end. It's smoother on the top end, in my opinion. but we're going to listen to them. Now, the Universal Audio and the Wave sound very similar. This sounds a little unique all in of itself. So what I did was, let me just shut off all the plugins right now are shut off. There's no plugins that are active except for on the drum bus, I have the drum strip. So they're all running to the drum strip. And then on the bus, on the master bus, I have the compressor just hit a couple of dB, okay? The vocals are all turned down because I haven't processed those yet because I didn't want to play that on a YouTube video, so I didn't want to get copyright. This is a song that we might do as a bonus video too. I might give you guys some free content. This might be the song we do for a live webinar, I'm not sure. But anyway, let me play back a little section of this. This is just drum, bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, B3, piano, and a Wurlitzer. I'll play back a section of this. No plugins. Here's what we got. Static mix. Let me know if you can hear it too. If you can't hear it, say something in the chat, would you? If you guys can hear it, just tell me you can hear it, okay? Okay, that's no plugins. That's just a rough, right? Recorded really well. Now I'm going to highlight all the tracks here. I'm going to turn on just the SSL, the solid state logic one. We're going to turn this one on, okay? Now I'll walk you through the plugin if you want to see it, but here's what it sounds like. Just the SSL. Start with no plugins. I'll kick it on so you can hear it. And no plugins. I know it's a little louder, but listen to the bottom end when the kick drum really starts. Very three-dimensional. I don't know how it comes across over the video, over this live stream. Let's see. You guys can hear it okay? Andy says, wow, okay. James, got three-dimensional. Yes, it's got a real nice sense of depth to it, which I really like. David says it really livens it up. The organ really comes out. Yes, you're right. You're right, James. Okay, so now that's the solid state logic. Now, here's the I'm going to do the same thing, but we're going to turn on the universal audio. Now, what I did was I made sure that all of the EQ, compression setting, level matching, everything was identical setting between the plugins. Now, the thing to keep in mind is, and I know some of you know this, some of you may not, so I want to make sure that I say this so you don't get confused over this if you're new to these kind of plugins. You got to remember that when they model these types of plugins, they're not going to sound exactly the same. They can't. They modeled very specific consoles. So whatever 4000E console that Universal Audio modeled is different than the one, physically different than the one that the Solid State Logic company did. And because they're two physically different pieces of hardware, they're going to sound a little bit different. They're going to have the same vibe and flavor, but they're going to sound a little different. Now, the one thing that I love about this new one here by Solid State Logic, outside it's a bigger GUI, it's more spread out, it's easier to see when you're twisting and twiddling the dials as opposed to the UA. The other thing I like about it is when you hover over any encoder, you can see the value here. And if you double click in it, you can just go in there and manually type in the value if you really want to get precise, okay? But you can see it very clearly. You don't get that with the UA. Now, because their thinking was probably, well, you know, on a console, you don't have a value. You just turn it and you listen with your ears. I get it. And no, you know, no harm, no foul, but it is nice to have that value there. And it's nice that the knobs are more spread out. They're laid out differently. The UA one, like the Waves one, is laid out the way that if you looked at a real 4000E console and you stood in front of it, this is what you would see, the UA. This is how it's laid out. This is different, the one that SSL made, the way it's laid out. But I like it much better. So why I'm telling you all of that is because, like, so for example, here on this is the kick-in instance for this example. At 60 hertz, I boosted up 9.3 dB on a Bell. 60 hertz on the UA, it's hard to get exactly 60 hertz. You got to kind of feel for it because I can't dial it into exactly 60. I don't know where exactly 60 is. And the same thing with 9.3 dB. So it could be a little bit off, but I did my very, very best to get them as close as possible so you could really hear the differences, okay? So now let's listen to that same piece of music, and I'm going to click in all the UA ones, okay? So here we go. No plugins, and I'll click in the UA ones. Here we go. So to my ears, the UA has a lot more presence on the top end. And again, the EQ is set exactly the same. But the top end of the solid state logic one, the first one we listened to, and we'll go through one at a time, be patient, is smoother on the top end to me. This one's a little bit more harsh on the top end. Also, the kick drum and the low end of those toms, those floor toms and that little pattern he's doing is not as defined like it is on the solid state logic one. Okay, so it just sounds, now again, you could go through and you could say, okay, well, I could just readjust my EQ to make it sound the way I want. Yeah, you can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just trying to compare the three plugins, right? But the big thing for me, at least on this particular plugin, the channel strip, is the three-dimensional thing is lacking in this one compared to the other one, in my opinion. It still sounds great. It's just lacking. Now, lastly, we're going to look at the Waves. Now, again, out of the three, the Waves is the older of the ones, meaning this thing is like 10 or 12, maybe 15 years old by now, this particular plugin. And so the monoling technology back then is not what it was when the UA one was made, or even the new one by Solid State Logic. I don't know how old those plugins are, but I think they're relatively new. And so the technology is different, meaning that the newer ones could have maybe a little bit more accurate representation of the console, maybe where it was a little lacking here. Don't know that for sure. I'm just stating what could be the obvious, but I have no proof of any of that. This still sounds good. Thousands of records were mixed with this particular plugin before there was a UA plugin, and they sound great. Just saying. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to listen to no plugins, and then I'll kick in the Waves so you can hear that. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so that's the waves. So to my ears, the waves and the Universal Audio ones sound very similar. You know, they're slightly different, but they're pretty close. Okay, so that's the waves. So now if I were to, then I'll get to the chat here in a second. I'll do that maybe before we do this. So I'm going to open up this one. I'm going to open up all three, okay? And I'm going to try to, so you guys can see. We'll open up this one and the SSL. Where's the SSL? There we go. Okay, let me just move some things on the screen here for a second. Hold on. So we're going to go left to right. We're going to go solid state logic, universal audio, and then we're going to do the waves, okay? So we can A-B between the three, so you can just hear the differences. Okay, I'll be able to click them all on and off. Let me first, I think I mis-highlighted some of my tracks here. Let me just make sure I have all of my tracks highlighted. All the way down to the Wurlitzer. There we go. Okay. Let me take a look at the chat here before we do this. Steven said the top end opened up. Oh, Mike says, wow, they sound great. James says, look at the difference. Just in the appearance, what would you rather work with? UAD is a mess. SSL is beautiful and better laid out. Agreed. Agreed. James says, strange that the SSL, the maker of the old real hardware, would lay out things differently and better for a plugin. Well, I think, probably, they probably looked at what other people did before them and said, we can do this a little bit better. It is a more user-friendly plugin, easy on the eyes, in my opinion. Mike says, from Peace Valley Audio, can you demo these for 30 days for free? I think so. I don't know if it's for 30 days, but there is a demo, I believe. Go check it out, Mike. And I think, like I said, if you can rent it by month, if you can buy these plugins outright. I think that this plugin we're looking at is $200. There's 6 of them in the pack. So you could buy them out, own them outright, or you can do what a lot of the companies are doing today. They're doing the monthly subscription, yearly subscription, because you get all the free updates, and you can cancel any time. If you buy a year up front, it's the cheapest, and it works out to be about $14 a month, which is what I did. David says the UAD sounds muddier. Okay. James says not near as much depth, stone cold flat in comparison. I got to agree, James. And you guys know I'm a huge Universal Audio fan. And prior to this, I use this SSL all the time. I think it sounds great. This solid state logic one is really something else. Mike says, I use the Waves SSL strips all the time. It's a great plugin. Again, we're doing an A/B comparison. We're splitting hairs. Well, again, we're saying there's a pretty big sense of depth difference, but I mean, all three of these things sound great, right? And I'm not saying you should dump your plugins or run out and buy something new. I'm just showing you what the differences are, and I'm impressed with them. Let's see. Andy says the Wave sounds close to the SSL. Bobby Boots says, might get those SSL plugins. Bobby says, I'd probably get the subscription. That's what I did, yeah. James says, I could not find a demo, so I subscribed for a year. Mike says, there is a 30-day demo. I thought there was. Maybe, James, when you look, there wasn't. There must be. Now, yeah, check them out. If you don't have SSL plugins and you're looking to get into them, if you're a channel strip guy. Now, I haven't used all 6 of their plugins like James has yet. I've used a few of them. The few that I've used, 3 of them, they're home runs so far. I haven't used all 6 yet, so we'll see. But so far, I'm very impressed. So now let's get back to this. So let's go A, B, A, B, A, B, right? Let's A, B these things straight across the board. We're going to go from left to right. Well, we'll start off with none. No plugin. Now, there is a little bit of a volume shift, obviously, from no plugins to a plugin. But when we go between the 3, you're going to hear their volume match pretty close. I really tried to do this the right way. Okay, so we're going to start with no plugins. I'll turn on the SSL, solid state logic first, and I'm going to click those off. You'll hear a momentary no plugins, and I'm going to kick on the UA, turn that off, momentary no plugins, waves. Okay, here we go. We'll extend the loop a little bit. Here we go. So we'll start with no, and then we'll kick on the SSL. Okay, so there you go. So in my mind, I like them in this order. For me, I like the SSL first, the UA second, and the Waves a close third. I think the Waves sounds, again, in the bottom end, sounds the least defined to me. But the SSL, this is a killer channel strip, man. Really, really nice. So there you go. So you just got an insight to a video that was going to happen in about 2 or 3 weeks. So you guys got it. The Waves, and I think James makes a good point. The Waves and the UAD are closer in tone. Where I really hear the difference again is the top end of this SSL solid state logic is a lot smoother. It doesn't have, you can hear it in the crack of the snare. It doesn't sound so bitey. Now again, like I said, you can adjust the EQ on either one of these. These are just all set to the same settings. It's not to say that you couldn't dial in these two channel strips, UA or Waves, to sound as thick and as smooth on the top end. You probably could, but that wasn't the point of this particular demonstration. But what you can't do is you can't dial in three dimension and depth. That you can't dial in. And that's what this plugin seems to have, for whatever reason, that these two don't seem to have. That's all I know. So I hope you found that helpful and you found that fun. I figured you guys would get a kick out of that. So again, if you're looking for SSL stuff, you could do subscription. Mike said he's going to try it for 30 days. I think it's great. The other great plugin here, which I think is superb, is this drum strip. The fact that there's a transient shaper on here is money. The low end enhancer and the high end enhancer is freaking great. Well, let me just turn it on. Let me just, why talk about it, right? Let me just, I'll solo up the drums, just the drums. That's before. So it just adds something really nice to it. Now that is with the SSL, that's with this plugin engaged all the way across, the one we just looked at, okay? That's with those things being processed. So let me just make sure I got all that right. Let me turn off the UA stuff. Okay, let me just turn on. Well, you know what? I'll do it with no plugins, so you can just hear the drum strip on its own, right? That would probably be a little bit better test, right? Now, normally you would kind of put this on after you kind of mix the tracks and kind of finish it with this. That's before. After. Okay, so it really puts a nice finishing touch on a drum bus. Really, really nice. Now, if you were to combine that with the SSL channel strip, the solid state logic one, the one that we tend to agree sounds the best out of the three. Turn down the input gain a little bit. Before. Really nice. A transient shaper alone and the low and high frequency enhancer makes this thing really, really great. Really helps cut through a dense mix, which I really, really like. So that's part of the Mike, you were saying you were going to demo the thing for 30 days. That's part of the pack. You get that plugin as well. You get all of them. So that's really cool. So let's see. Any other questions you guys got? We're running a little over an hour now. Let's see. Hold on. Let me scroll back up. I don't want to miss anybody's question if there are any. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Bob says he likes the SSL, the Waves, and the UA in that order for his personal preference. Great, man. Bobby Booth says, yep, might get them. I need all the help I can get. Well, they're going to help you a little bit, that's for sure. James says the Waves is closer to the UAD. Different parts of the song can be deceptive. Yeah, it depends on the source material as well. Hey, that's just a quick down and dirty demonstration. Andy says the UAD snare sounds sloppy. It doesn't sound sloppy to me. It sounds like it's got too much high end in it. Again, the EQs are going to be voiced a little bit differently, even though it's the same console. Let's see. Mike over at Peace Valley Audio says you need to bring back that plug-in show. What happened to that? Yeah, there was a time where I was doing a weekly or show, or every other week. We were doing, me, myself, and a couple other people, Johnny Lipsham and Johnny Guy, were doing that plug-in show where we would demo plugins and stuff. Honestly, Mike, the reason why we stopped doing this is because there was no participation. We'd get on there and there'd be 5 people that would show up, and I just felt like, you know, it wasn't worth the time. If no one's going to participate and no one's going to show up, then I'm not going to do them, because I'm a busy guy. And so we tried it for a month or so, weren't getting any real hits. And to record it and put it up on YouTube, because the thing would run like an hour long, because there were 3 of us demoing plugins, not many people would watch the video after the fact because it was too long. So it just went by the wayside. It was a good idea. Tried something new. No one really wanted to watch it. Andy says the SSL snare sounds tighter and more defined, without a doubt. In my mind too, I agree with you. Bob says it really brings the toms out. Yeah, it's got a real 3D thing. When you get it in your, again, it's hard over, I think it's hard over a live stream. When you get it in your studio, and listen to it, especially with headphones, you can really hear the sense of depth in it. It's not just a low end, high end thing. It's really a 3D thing. And if you have, like, say, the Waves, and then you put them side by side in your studio, you're going to hear that. It's something different about it. Let's see. Oh, Mike's downloading the trial as we speak. Right on, Mike. There you go. Randall says for a top-down mix, the drum strip would be great. Yeah, great place to start if you wanted to. If you have, again, top-down mixing is great when you have tracks that are really well recorded. This song happens to have that, so you would be absolutely correct. Let's see. Steve says it contains the hi-hats. Donnie says great stuff. Hey, Donnie, how are you, buddy? Davis says, what about Coffee with David? Oh, questions of coffee. Yeah, I have a bunch I have to do still. I have a bunch of questions. There's so many, I'm so busy today, and there's so many videos and so many things I'm doing with MixingMadeEasy.net and Home Recording Made Easy, that when people write me in, what I was doing was cataloging all those questions and doing a questions and coffee video. But now that the videos are taking longer to make, I didn't want people to feel like I wasn't answering their question. They had to wait a month to get an answer. So I inadvertently end up answering them in an email, and then it really kind of, defeats the purpose of doing the video. And it's becoming more and more difficult to keep up with the questions because the popularity of the YouTube channel and stuff. It's just, there's so many questions that come in, and I'm doing this all myself. And there's going to be a point in time where I'm not going to be able to answer every single question. A lot of the questions that I get to have a lot to do with people's computer setups and computer issues, and which are hard because I don't know everybody's setup. And unless I'm looking at your system, it's hard for me to troubleshoot stuff, especially with beginners that really are struggling because they don't really know what they're doing. And the other thing, a lot of folks think every time they have a PreSonus Studio One question, I don't use the program to its fullest potential. I use it more as a mixing and a mastering engineer. And so I don't know every last feature of Studio One. And I'm also not PreSonus tech support. Some people have the idea, because I've done a lot of PreSonus videos and stuff, and I use Studio One, that somehow I'm a PreSonus tech support guy, and I'm not. And so I'm trying to somehow deal with all the questions, because I want to be supportive to the people who follow me and buy courses and sign up for memberships. That's what I'm here for. But at the same time, I don't know every answer to everybody's computer-related problems. And sometimes, and again, they're just trying to get answers, and I try to be helpful, but people will write me a paragraph and, with 7 questions in it, and I just can't, I would do nothing else but spend time answering questions all day. So when people have those kinds of questions, I awfully try to refer them to my Skype sessions where I do offer private one-on-one training that you guys all get here for me from nothing. But people that aren't a member, they want to pay for an hour of my time. I'll get on Skype and I'll answer every question in the world, and I can see your computer and we can share screens and I can really help. But to answer a lot of those things in email, as you guys can imagine, is very difficult to troubleshoot a lot of people's very specific process problems. And so I'm trying though. I'm trying the best I can. I really am. Let's see. Andy says, I think we may have found something to finally replace Slate. How is the CPU? Oh, Andy, thanks that you said that, because in the video I did for YouTube, I show you the CPU is nice, man. Okay, so here, right now there's 28 instances of this SSL channel strip on here, and I'm going to show you the performance meter. It runs at 6%. If I turn on the music, oh, let me unmute all the tracks, yeah? That would be smart of me. .6% CPU. Now, I have a pretty stacked up computer, as a lot of you guys know, but this is not a computer hog at all. Now, I have most of the modules turned on in that plugin too. I don't know, because I haven't done this test. If you shut off certain parts of the plugin, will the CPU go down? It should, but I'm using everything except for maybe on some of the tracks I'm not using the gates. But other than that, I'm using the EQ, the compressor, on everything. Low pass, high pass filters, 6%. That's the same as the waves, because I did that test. Now the UA, the advantage to Universal Audio outside of their plugins really do sound good, and they make a lot of plugins, as you guys have seen me use them a bunch of times. This runs off of the DSP, off the hardware, right? So it's not taxing your computer. However, I did do this in the video for YouTube that you guys will see, but I'll show you now. With 26 instances of the channel strip, if I turn on all the UA channel strips, it runs at about 47% of my total DSP availability. Now again, I have a real powered system, a real expensive UA system. Look, 46%. I don't know if you can see that. 46% when I turn on 28 channel strips of the UA. Now, again, most people, this would kill your whole system, because most people don't have an Apollo and 4 satellite systems, 5 hardware units. Most of you guys don't have that. You're probably running a quad or an octo, or maybe a couple of quads. You couldn't put whatever I said, 28 instances of that channel strip. It would crash your system. So from a DSP standpoint, the channel strips, the SSL, the API Vision channel strip, and the Neve 88RS are very DSP intensive. So, because as you know, a lot of times I mix with these things across all the tracks, I needed to have a big UA system. But now, from a channel strip perspective, if you want an SSL vibe, you can just use this, and you're only using 6%. So you guys won't have a problem. Good question, Andy. Very good question. Now, you say replace Slate. Well, Slate doesn't have an SSL channel strip. Now, you're talking about the VCC, the virtual console. I think all they really modeled is the input and output transformer. You don't have the compressor, the EQ, and all of that for SSL. You have their SSL EQ in there, but you don't have their SSL compressor. So Slate's a little different. Is it a full-on replacement for Slate? No, I don't think it is. Because Slate, now you can argue, well, why would you use the VCC if you have this and they modeled the preamp on the input? It's a good point. I use it anyway because it adds a little extra flavor, but and also Slate has a lot of other great plugins too, right? So I don't know that it's a full-on replacement. But again, it doesn't mean it can't be. I'm just saying I don't know that it's exactly one-to-one. So that's, let's see, Milkman Blues. Hey, Milkman Blues, how are you, bro? Just found out you changed the address for the coaching. Yeah, I sent out an email with the right address. I think someone was saying earlier, the one on the website got me to the wrong place. I apologize. I got to fix that. My bad. Just so you know, the live stream will always be on this channel. Where you came today is where it's always going to be. And so that's where it'll be. And it'll be the first Sunday of every month, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Sorry about that. I'm recording this though, so it's going to be on the website tomorrow, so you guys can check it out if you came in late. My apologies. Let's see. Troy says he's looking forward to checking out the SSL. Yeah, man, it's good. Check it out. So, do you guys have any other questions at all? I mean, that was a fun little look. I hope you guys are digging thus far. I mean, I know we're only a couple of months in to the content and Mixing Made Easy, and hopefully you guys you're having a good time with that and you're digging the songs. Again, we got some really cool songs coming up. I think next month we're doing a Motown song, is it? Motown. Then the month after that, we're doing a heavy metal tune. It's going to be great. And then, yeah, we got country and blues and all kinds of stuff coming up. There'll also be, like I said, we're going to do, I don't know when, probably not for another month or so, because I'm in the middle of a bunch of different projects right now. We're gonna do, you know, some webinars and stuff that I'm gonna do for you guys, and we'll pick different topics and things. And again, a lot of that is based on what I'm listening to in your mixes to see where maybe I can help and give you guys some additional training. I also have a couple of guest engineers that are going to probably pop in and out during the course of this year to give some extra content where maybe they're not going to do a full-on mix of the song that I'm doing with you guys every month, but maybe they're doing just an overview, so you get some additional content from another engineer as well. So I got some other ideas, and again, your feedback's important. Anything that you guys think, like, dislike, want to improve, blah blah blah, hit me up. I'm here to try to, tailor this to the majority of the members. I obviously can't tailor to every specific member, but based on what, and again, I can tell by listening to your mixes where I feel the majority of you are at from your experience level, skill set, and what training that you need. And I try to sprinkle all of that in and all the content. So, it's not always going to be super beginner stuff, but it's not going to be super advanced stuff either. It's always going to be in the middle. And then to help some of my more real beginners, we'll do like a webinar. We'll do a one-off thing where I have something special for you in addition to all the content you're getting. And the same thing with the advanced guys and gals. We'll do a webinar where we'll look at some things that are in some of my more advanced mixing courses that you guys can get right in the store. So if you're more advanced, I highly recommend you check out Mixing Made Easy Volume 2. And again, buy it through mixingmadeeasy.net because you get your 25% discount as being a member. And also check out, if you don't have, Mixing with Analog Style Plugins Made Easy. Those are advanced courses. Mixing Made Easy Volume 2 has got a lot of really cool stuff in it if you don't have it already. We talk about 3D and depth and all that stuff. Not stuff that I teach in the monthly content for Mixing Made Easy for a couple of reasons. One, because I know you guys are all limited on time, right? You guys don't have 10 hours every month to watch all the videos. I learned that from learningtomix.com. I learned what not to do. Even though I thought the content was great, we were giving you so much more content. But the reality is a lot of you guys don't have time to watch all this stuff. So I have to be a little bit more concise. So I'm not going way down deep and in depth into some of those more advanced techniques because the content would be far too long every month, number one. Number two, the majority of our members are not at that level. The majority of our members are somewhere between a year to about 2 years of experience. And they need more beginner intermediate stuff. So that's where I'm shaping a lot of this content. However, as more people continue to join and I start to see where everybody's at, I can supplement with some additional training for you so I can cover all the bases. Okay. So again, we're only doing this now 2 months. So give it time. We're rocking and rolling. It's going to be fun. Hang in there. Don't be so quick to just jump, bail ship. It's going to be good. Let's see. I'm going to grab these last few questions and then I'm going to bail out of here. So ask now if you need to ask. Let's see. James says he bookmarked the page. Yeah, James, do that. Bob says, nice job today, David. You're awesome, buddy. Hey, Bob, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining and all your support. James says he's loving the mixing and the training. Great. Awesome. Andy says, appreciate your hard work. No, man, thanks for being members, man. I appreciate you guys. You guys are, you're supporting it. You're spending your money, and that means a lot to me, man. Money's tight for people today. So the fact that you're spending money with me and you continue to do so is just very, I really appreciate that. It allows me to keep doing this stuff because if nobody buys any of this stuff, I go away. I gotta go make a living, So I appreciate that. Josh says, same here. Thanks, Dave. You're welcome, Donnie. I just had, my right bicep muscle reattached. Oh my goodness. And my rotator cuff cleaned up. It'll be a couple of months before I'm able to dive back in. Well, yeah, heal up, Donnie. Well, that's the other thing too, guys. If you guys get, we all get busy. You get to download the content download it to your computer. Even if you don't get to it that month, you got it forever. Download it. Don't worry about it if you're out for a couple of months. You know what I mean? You guys can have the content forever. Even if you can't get to it for a month or two, I just tell people, don't bail and cancel your membership, because then you're never going to sign back up. You're going to miss content. You're going to miss some of the free stuff. I tried to keep it so affordable, so even if everyone could afford it. And if you can't get to it 1 month, no big deal. Download the content, get to it to the next month. No worries, That's what I would recommend. But yeah, I hope you feel better, Donnie. Man, that's, God almighty, that's terrible. Andy says, I'd like to hear how our mixes can be better. Well, I do that in the comments in the forum, and you guys are also helping out as well. I actually, another one of the ideas I have, and again, don't hold me to this because time is limited. What I may also do as part of our coaching calls, or even as a separate thing here and there, all the mixed submissions that I get from month to month, maybe we'll bring half a dozen on them. We'll bring them up online, and I'll critique them live. If you guys are cool with that. Most of you guys are, because you guys want feedback, right? But maybe we can do that as a live thing, like mix critique Tuesday or something. We could do something like that. That was another idea I had. So I don't have to sit down and type out, because sometimes it is challenging, as you can imagine, getting the amount of mixes that I have sent to me to sit down and then to physically type out all of my, things I like, things I would look at, my critique, right? So it may be better to get here on live and do it live. And then you guys might be able to participate in that as well. So that's something I'm thinking about. It's a thing on my list to do, Andy. Trust me. Troy says, great job today. You're very welcome. Thank you. David says, loving it. The best idea you've had so far. Which one was that? Doing the live mix critiques? We'll do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. You know what? I'm going to make myself a note. We're going to do one. I don't know that I can do it every month. But what we can do is I can make it part of this coaching call where maybe I'm going to randomly just grab 2 or 3 and we'll do them. I can't do all of them. I got over 100 of them sent to me this month. And please don't write in and say, pick mine, pick mine, pick mine. I'm just going to randomly pick them. I'll try to come up with a system so over time everybody gets a turn. Maybe we do, 3, 4, 5 in a coaching call. If you guys are okay with that, let me think about it. But I have a note here to do live mix critiques. We'll do something. We'll try. Okay. James says, tear me apart. Well, no, it's not. It's not about tearing apart. It's all constructive criticism. And the other thing too is you guys have been very professional, courteous, and very, but also forthcoming in telling people on the forum what you think you would improve in the mix. But people are posting their mixes. They want to hear constructive criticism, and you guys have been really good about that. And that's good. Keep it positive. Keep it constructive. It's okay. It's not all of the mixes that I've heard. None of them suck. They're all good. There's different levels of good, okay? You guys are doing a great job with them. Now, also keep in mind that a lot of this is personal preference too, right? Like if I write you and say, hey man, I think the snare needs to cut a little bit more, and I'll usually will follow up and say, that's just my personal preference. Maybe I like the snare a little bit louder. Maybe I tend to like a little more low end. Some of this stuff it's not right or wrong. It's just, what do you like? What do I like? Beauty's in the ear of the beholder, right? And so, you got to take that with a grain of salt. Also, too, you got to remember everybody's listening to your mix in a different mixing environment, or listening environment. And as we talked about a little earlier, that can vary widely from one person to another. So if you post your mix in the forum, just don't take every single thing and go change every little thing that someone suggests, because that could put you on a rabbit trail that you'll never get off of. But if you see 3 or 4 comments of the same kind of things, hey, the mid-range is a little heavy here, check that out, then probably your mid-range is a little heavy, check that out. But, take some of it with a grain of salt. This whole thing is for us to learn and all get better. So we want to tear people apart, but in a nice way to help people, right? Because what the hell good is this thing if you're not getting any better, right? And you won't get any better unless we're all honest about what we're hearing, good and bad. I mean, it's okay. I give you guys a hell of a lot of credit for taking the training, because most people, and I know this because of all the work I do with Home Recording Made Easy, and people that'll just buy a course here and there and not really invested in it, for whatever reason, and again, I get a lot of questions, and a lot of people will write me in or they'll hire me for a Skype training, and we talk about stuff, and it's clear that they want a quick 5-minute bullet to make their mix sound professional. They want a quick fix. They want a 3-minute or a 10-minute YouTube video. God forbid the video's 15 minutes long. Oh my God, the video can't be 15 minutes long. I don't have 15 minutes. You don't have 15 minutes. If you don't have 15 minutes, and you're in the wrong hobby, man. You know what I mean? This is like learning an instrument, right? This is like working out. This takes time. It's a journey, and it's supposed to be fun. You don't go from not knowing how to mix to being a world-class mix engineer overnight, and we're in a 10-minute YouTube video. So you guys, just because you're hearing, you're investing your time, your money, and your effort, you guys are ahead of about 90% of the people that I deal with on a daily basis. Believe you me. You know, and so I don't understand, you know, anyway. So, okay. Mike says he's headed off to SSL land. Enjoy the plugins, my friend. James says, yes, do more. Teach us how we hear or what to listen to. Yes, I do. And again, you'll, in every single, almost every single, I should say, every month, there's going to be those teachable moments in there where, because I remember, and I make a mental note where I'll stop and I'll say, this is something unique that you need to listen for. Listen to how that compressor works. This is what you're listening for, blah, blah, blah. I try to do that as much as possible, James. When something comes up, that's why the videos, even when I try to streamline it, there's still 4 hours a month, right? 3 to 4, 5 hours, because even going fairly quick and trying not to bog you guys down, if there's a teachable moment, I'm going to stop and I'm going to try to teach. You know, if I just gloss over it and give you the 45-minute overview and that's it, you don't learn anything that way, in my opinion. But I provide the overview in case you don't have the time. But the overviews, you'll notice, they're quick. They're 35, 40 minutes. I want you to go back and watch the videos. Even if you don't have time in the month we're in, try to go back and watch them. But I try to teach that as much as I can. Okay. Yep, that's cool, James. All good stuff, man. Okay, man, so we've been on here an hour and a half. I'm going to blow out of here now. Again, thanks so much. Enjoy the mix for Amy Helms Rescue Me. Make sure you get to the mixing send it in. Oh, and also, too, I wrote a comment on the forum. Make sure when you send me the MP3, don't send me, these 128-bit. Try to send something that's 256 or 320. Give me something a little more high resolution. You can't send me WAV files because they're too big, but send me MP3s, but give me high res MP3s if you can. Okay. Get it to me by the 25th. We will do another mixing contest, and next month I got myself a note. I'll pick some mixes. We'll drop them into the DAW, and we'll critique them together too. But keep posting on the forum. And that's it, man. So yeah. Take care, everybody. If you have any questions, you know to hit me up on the website. Hit me up in the user community there, and we will talk soon. Again, I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys all soon. Take care. Bye.